The new 2019 version of Basis comprises a very simple installer that creates the database and does all the required stored procedures and views and can be installed within minutes. Once installed, you will see within Sage, because it's SDK based, you will see all the functionality. So at a very high level, we do a lot of inventory functions such as physical inventory, transfers and receipts and adjustments. We receive assemblies, and then we also have the ability to do very detailed inventory counts. We also monitor and process purchase orders, sales orders, we track bin locations, and we have a small production module. If we want to review the setup briefly, basically there is a lot of options within Sage 300 in Basis that will allow you to automate almost every task. We can now import everything automatically. It will be imported directly from Basis into the Basis cloud, which we'll see in a minute. And we also have the option to transact everything automatically through a new Windows schedulers, which automatically imports orders and purchase orders and then sends an email confirmation as long as it's set up properly. We also do have an integration with ORCID bin tracking if we want to have a little more granular way to manage the bins. But otherwise, Basis has its own full web-based bin tracking module. So we're going to just review here the functionality and the setup. Initially, we have this installed within Sage 300. We also have a cloud representation of Basis where all the transaction and all the processes get showed as well. It's not necessary to use, but it's very useful, and it allows to avoid having to use extra Sage licenses because everything becomes visible. And finally, all the transactions are actually performed using an iOS device with a Bluetooth scanner. Some of them are integrated, some of them are paired, and it allows for very simple training, very easy functionality. We are also coming up soon with a version that will also work on Android. So that's a brief overview of the setup. We're going to go into a little more detail now. When it comes to managing inventory, especially when cycle counts are involved, Basis truly shines. The first step is to actually create a physical inventory worksheet directly from Sage like you normally do. And then once this is done, going to Basis inventory processing, we can actually transfer the worksheet directly from Sage to Basis. And then what this will do is will actually allow you to just create the worksheet within Basis. And once that's done, you can go and start counting using the mobile device. I'm going to show you briefly how we count. If you are tracking bin locations, the first step would be to actually scan the bin location. We also have various settings that allow you to force location management. As soon as you scan the item, Basis will show you the description of the item and will allow you to enter the quantity that you've counted. Alternatively, you can turn on the auto Bluetooth, which basically will just allow you to go and scan very quickly from various items, and it would automatically add them. As you're counting, you can see what's been counted. Very easy to monitor, and if you made a mistake, you just delete it and start again. Once you're done, you just hit send, and this will actually allow you to send all your inventory back to the cloud, where you can first be reviewed from the portal. Here you'll be able to see everything that you've counted. You'll see how many different transactions that you have for the specific items. You'll see all the locations, so you're able to monitor exactly where you counted them. And then you can also just download them into Sage using the physical inventory module and in inventory counting, which is actually looking at the Basis database, not the Sage database. By design, we're actually counting everything outside of Sage and bringing it in. So all I have to do here is just receive it from the cloud, and that will allow me to update everything that I've just scanned. So I can see now, based on the item that I've scanned, the one in green have the right quantity that's based on what Sage has. The one in red are below, and the one in blue are over. And any of them I can just double click, and I'm able to see not only what I counted, but I can also see the details of what I counted. If I counted them in various different locations, I can actually see exactly where I counted them, and that's all within Sage. And if the item was serialized or lot number, the serial or lot number would also be included as well as the bin location. Now, the bin location is not really relevant to Sage unless we use ORCID bin tracking, but we are keeping track of all the locations within BASIS for further analysis. So whether you're doing a full count or a cycle count, once you completed your count, all you have to do is you just review your inventory by looking at the different reports, like for example, what you scan or what you haven't scanned. And then the last process would be to just re-import the physical inventory. So at this point, it's not in Sage yet, but if I just go into the import process, I have here the option to either import it as a worksheet adjustment, which is going to post all the counts to the worksheet, or I can import it as an adjustment. And the purpose of importing it as an adjustment is not to affect the worksheet, but just create an adjustment for the items that were counted. That is actually very powerful, especially when it comes to adjusting items that are lot numbers or serial numbers. It's impossible to do them through the worksheet, but through the adjustment, that is how we would actually adjust it. So just to clarify here, at this point, nothing is in Sage yet. Everything we've done is outside of Sage. Once we import the adjustment, that's when it's actually going to create the adjustment. And the beauty of the adjustment is that if there's anything wrong with the count, you can always delete the adjustment and post it again and make your variances. So that's what we do for physical inventory counts. We also have the ability to do transfers, and those are done directly from the mobile. We actually have a function where you can transfer from and to. If it's a lateral transfer within the same location, within the same warehouse, it doesn't affect Sage, but it does affect BASIS bin location module. If it's a warehouse transfer from one warehouse location to another warehouse location, it actually will create a transfer in Sage, and we can also create receipts. We also have the ability to do some assembly. So the assembly module is basically a production module that allows you to quickly on the scanner scan a bunch of items that you're manufacturing. So I'm going to just illustrate that briefly. So if I go to production and we want to record finished goods, we have the ability to enter a production order number, and here we're scanning parts as we're creating them. We can assign a bill of material for them. We can assign a location. All the production items that we've scanned as produced will then show up here. And if we decide to import them, what it'll do is it'll actually explode the assembly using the own Sage bill of material to produce them. So this is just a way to very quickly tell Sage everything we've done rather than going through the assembly module and building them one at a time. We have some more advanced functionality where you can actually create a PO to a supplier, and then when it comes in, automatically assemble it. That's a little more advanced. There is some functionality that's very customizable that we won't go into in this demo. So the last thing I want to illustrate here is that from the portal, we can actually see everything that's getting counted. We see the detail of what's being counted. And the advantage of doing that is that we don't have to have access to Sage. We can see everything that happens. And once we're done, we can just refresh our location. And what that will do is that will allow us to then go through and see within the portal all our items and the different locations where they're located. For example, if I look at this item here, I can see that I have different quantities into different locations. The same information is actually available from the mobile as well. If I go anywhere within the mobile, I can always go to my inventory count, inventory, location and prices. And here I can actually scan an item and find out where it's located. It's going to show me where it is and how many I have, and that's actually available from any functionality, even sales orders or purchase order. Or I can also scan a location and find out what's in that location. So this allows me to see a specific location and I see all the items are in that location. So there's a lot of advantages. There is additional functionality that I'm not going through, but in terms of inventory visibility, it's really designed to make it very easy and very manageable. When it comes to sales order shipping, BASIS uses a process called subclassing, which basically allows you to have, no matter where you do an order, it actually will automatically prompt you to send it to BASIS. For example, this order that was just created in the order entry screen is now ready to get posted, and when posted, it'll prompt you to export it to BASIS. And as soon as you export it to BASIS, it's then become available to be scanned. So once it's actually sent to BASIS, what happens in the portal is that it will actually go and appear on the portal as a blue order. So that's the order that we just sent. So the process now is to simply go onto the scanner, go into the order module, and then scan the order number. So what we typically do is we add a barcode to the packing slip report. By scanning the barcode on the packing slip, it actually will bring in the order, and then tapping on it will open the order, so we can then see what's on the order. If we want, we can also see the default location where the order is to be picked from, and those columns can not only be sorted by tapping on any of them, or they can be rearranged, so you can have the location first if that's important to you. The process then is to just start scanning an item. When you scan an item, you have the option to just isolate the item so that you can also check to the location to see if you have additional ones, or you can also turn on automation just like we did in inventory. And if you're picking from the default location, turning on the automation will automatically change the order color as it's assigning the quantity. Very quickly, we're able to scan the items and see that they change color, so the order is completed. Once the order is completed, the last step is to just send it back to the cloud. And if you look in the background, you'll see that the order just changed color from blue to green, which basically tells me that the order is now been picked. So I can view the transactions. So again, this can be done in a remote location, and from here I can see the location where they were picked. If there was serial or lot numbers, I'll be able to see them here, and I can also print a report here of what was picked. Again, this is not really necessary, but it's very useful if you're doing from something else. And then as far as basis is concerned, if we go to sales orders, we can see that the sales orders in basis are sitting in the basis module. And then we have an option to receive them from the cloud that can be also automated. And what happens is as the order is getting processed, the status will change automatically. And in this case here, because I've got the option to import the order automatically, if I check my email, I just received an email from the system telling me that the order has been imported. And then if I check the packing slips, the shipment has already been created for these orders. If we're not using the automation, then we have the option to, in basis, to just look at the orders. And actually, this is an interesting screen because the status will change as the order is getting picked. So as soon as an order gets started, you'll see a status of 1, and then it'll go all the way to 7 until it's completed. And the number means the percentage of completion. So this gives you a view of the orders that are currently being picked. And if you double click on any of the orders, so this one is actually completed, and it came back, so I can see that the quantities are all shipped, and that's why it's all green. And I can actually even go even more granular and view every specific scan on that order, so I can see which locations, where there was serial or lot number, I would be able to see again. So this is a view of the basis table. And then if that was automated, the order would have already been entered. But in this case, I've turned off the automation just to illustrate. Here I have the ability to import the sales orders. And when I update this, when I import the sales order, I can also pick a report. And what it will do, it will use a standard printing functionality of Sage to just go ahead and print my report. So if I had a bunch of orders, I could use them to import and print the packing slips automatically. This is just a standard Sage packing slip, and we also get a basis report just to give us an idea of what was just imported. That's a basis report. It could be multiple orders on here. This is just a report that shows me what was imported. Another thing that we can do from this screen is we can actually scan an order number. We can select a carrier, scan an order number, scan a tracking number, or multiple tracking number. And what that will do is I will actually insert the tracking number both on the shipment and on the invoice for that specific order. That's very useful if we want to be able to track. We're not connecting to them, we're just giving you the ability to enter the tracking number within Sage. So that covers the sales order functionality. Pretty straightforward. You scan an order, send it to the cloud, scan it, and bring it back. So the next step here is to do the purchase order. So same idea as a sales order. If I have a purchase order that exists anywhere in Sage, as soon as I post it, it's going to prompt me to export it to basis, and it's going to take it to the cloud. And exactly like in the sales order, from the basis portal, we're able to go and see the purchase order. The purchase order will become visible on the cloud. Just like for the sales order, the purchase order is actually appearing in blue. And what I need to do is I just need to go and same idea. I will scan the purchase order. It will load it up on the device. And then I'm able to start scanning the products. And here I need, because I have larger quantity, I'll see my primary location. This is just for information. Again, I can check the location where others are placed. And then all I need to do here is same idea, is just receive my quantity and so on. And actually you can under receive if needed. If you need to make a change, you can always swipe to the right and then you'll see the actual scan, so you can change them. And again, if these items were lot numbers or serialized, there would be another screen that would prompt you to enter the lot and serial number. And if that's all you need, you just send it to the cloud. Now in this case, I'm sending it not complete, obviously, but that's fine. So now that I've sent it, it turned green here. Same idea, I can view the transaction. Everything is exactly the same. And then if I go into Sage, from the purchase order module, now all I need to do is just import it. So if I was automated, that would have happened automatically, but because it's not, I can actually see from here what was received. I see the different colors, whether it's right or wrong, exactly similar to the sales order. And then the last step would be to just import them. Again, this could be done automatically, or this could be manually done. It's a very simple process. Now, the key is that every time you import something, it automatically will create the receipt and complete the transaction. So this receipt actually was created, and a report will come up to show me what was received. And if I had lot number or serial numbers, they would have appeared here. So that's basically the purchase order. Very simple, very quick. So at a high level, this was a review of the basic functionality. We do have additional functionality. For example, if I go here, I can see that I have something called slab inquiry and skid inquiry. We do support skid license plating. We do have a functionality to work in the marble industry with slabs. I didn't want to go too much into the detail of all the customization that can be done, but because it's our source code, we are able to do almost anything that has to do with custom work. The core of the functionality is really the inventory count, shipping, receiving. That's probably 80% of what we focus on. And then we have light production and location tracking, which is also very powerful. And location tracking, as I said before, can be totally managed within Basis or integrated to ORCID bin tracking. Within the portal, we also have the ability to print labels. So when we go to inventory listing, we're actually able to generate print file that will actually print to any type of thermal transfer printer, like such as Zebra or Intermec or some of the more advanced printers. And we can print labels either from the portal, from the inventory module, or for the purchase order module, where you can print labels for all the items for a specific purchase order. The other thing that we do support is 2D scanning. So if you had barcodes that were actually today, you would be able to scan in one scan the serial and or lot number of one item at the same time as a quantity. That can be supported as well, depending on the type of scanner that you have. But for now, that's all I wanted to cover, and I invite you to contact us for more information or for an online demo. Thank you very much.